Welcome. Well, that's interesting. I don't know what happened there. All right. I'm not sure exactly what's just happened here. We've got a. Oh, I know what's going on, you guys. I was listening to this and I'm like, what the heck is going on? Welcome to the live Q&A today. Well, the reality is in the background on my website here, if I flip it around, I actually had this queued up because we were testing out our poll feature, which is part of the new thing that we're going to be doing today. And I had my YouTube set to go live when the video went. So then I was hearing this music in the background. I'm like, wait a minute, what the heck's going on? Why is my audio, generating two audio streams? And well, now I know. It's all figured out. Got it sorted out. Okay, guys, welcome back to the Canadian Immigration Live Q&A here on the Canadian Immigration Institute. I am your host, Mark Holthe. I am the Canadian immigration lawyer, ex-immigration officer, and former high school teacher. And wow, we've been at this for, I think, just about 5 years. And it has been just an amazing experience. This is something I look forward to every single week, and it's awesome to have you guys joining. Now, some of you who post questions a little bit early, until I go live, I don't see them. So for example, if I share my screen here, just so that you guys can see kind of what I'm talking about here, and I'm going to take this, and I've got a bunch of, let's see, overlays here. I'm going to take this right here. I'm just going to pull this down here because we don't need that. If you look here, you'll see that there's a bunch of questions that were posted early on. Like Joe says, hey, Mark, good to catch you again. I'm here now in Calgary. So that I have not been able to see basically because once I go live, then I start to see the actual posts. So if you're early and too early, sometimes I don't see it in my feed, but it's good to have all of you guys connecting in and joining me today. So as you can see from the title, we do have a new question format, which I'm going to talk about in just a little bit, but we are looking to try to make these live Q&As more and more effective. And one of the ways that we can do that, especially for those who are watching them as recordings, is to have something we call a feature question. And if you are a long-term follower of the Canadian Immigration Institute here in these live Q&As, you will know that there was a time when I actually did have feature topics and then had Q&As after. And so because the various social media platforms never play well in the sandbox together, we've decided that we have to make some changes. And one of them is going to be choosing a platform. And Restream, which I use, I love it. It's able to be broadcast to Facebook and LinkedIn and all those other locations. But the reality is very few people on those other channels are actually seeing this. And YouTube is not promoting these as much as it could be because I think it suspects I am also multi-streaming to different platforms and they reward people who are all engaged with them. So what do we have now on our channel? If you go back to our channel and you look at it here, I'm going to flip my screen around. You will see here that we have 42,000 subscribers now. So this is awesome. And we've seen steady, slow growth over the last year and a half, 2 years. And so I think, you guys, that I'm going to go all in on YouTube. I think that's what I'm going to do. Now we'll sort out exactly how we're going to rebroadcast or re-upload the recorded videos into the other platforms. But I think I'm going to encourage people to slide over to YouTube to watch this. So if you're watching this on Facebook, on the Express Entry Law private Facebook group, well, I know that Facebook just doesn't like this and doesn't promote the lives, and only you that are very persistent will see them. So we're probably going to embrace YouTube as our main source and then and see where it goes, and then take the videos where we are teaching. We're going to take those and make them a recording and then upload those to the other platforms that people have access to them there. But we're also going to be changing the format of the questions. So like I said before, we're going to have a feature question. And that feature question is going to be the main title on the post. So we're still going to do lives, Q&As on Wednesdays at 10, on Thursdays at 11, Cedric in the morning on Tuesdays. We're still going to do those, but we're going to have a more featured question that we're going to answer right off the top. And then we're going to then go through some news. some updates, things like that. Then we're going to shift to the awesome Q&A format that we've always done. And what that will allow us to do is to create chapters where you can actually jump in the videos. If you're watching them as a recording, you can jump to the spots that you want and pull out when you don't. And that will allow just more easy access to the information that we're trying to teach, and allow us to repurpose content a lot easier than just having this massive Q&A that covers every kind of immigration. And it's actually quite a miracle that we have 42,000 subscribers on YouTube when these live Q&As really cover a massive size range in immigration topics. So stay tuned for that. Now, here's how this is going to work, you guys. So like I said, each live Q&A, we're going to have a feature question. But then after that, we are going to allow you to choose the feature question for next week. And the way we're going to do that is through the polling feature. Now, just to give you a chance to test it out, Igor has posted in the live stream today. If I jump over to it, let me just pull it up here. In our live stream right now, you'll see on the right that Igor, and you guys are already on top of it, I can see that. You can see that he has posted a poll, and the poll is related to today, Wednesday. And what happens on Wednesday? Well, at least every other Wednesday. Well, what happens is the CRS rounds of invitation. So we are posting on here, looks like it's pretty popular, a range that you can go from, and I'm going to slide over here and show you my screen. So you can see, I want you to choose and vote in the poll what range you think the CRS scores are going to be. So 525 to 535, 520 to 525, 515 to 520, or below 515. And realistically, we could have probably put below 500, but we'll see what happens. So let's see. You guys ask me what I think all the time. And what do I think the range is going to be? I'm going to go with 520 to 525. That's what I'm going to do. So I'm going with 520 to 525. So let's just see how this plays out. Usually the rounds of invitations kick in when we are finished our live. So we'll see how it all plays out. But that's my guess is between 520 and 525. That's where I'm going to go with. All right. So just like that poll has been created, you will see that we are going to set up a poll with 4 questions. And those 4 questions are going to be drawn from you guys. I'll show you. This is the fun part, okay? So when you click on the link in the description below, it is going to take you right here to this little page where you can submit your submission for the top question that we will answer and spend a little bit more time on in our upcoming live Q&A for the following week. So all you have to do is just put your name in, your email, and I'll give you a shout out if it's your question. That's part of the reason why we want your name, and then the country where you live. And then I also want you to answer if you're an immigration consultant, an applicant, a student, a spousal, foreign worker, all these things. And it just helps us to better curate the content that we're doing. So all you have to do is enter this information, submit your question, and then your question will form the basis. The ones we'll choose the top 4 out of there. And then we will put these here for your vote. And we will take the voting here into strong consideration with what we're going to do as our feature question for each live Q&A. So it's just a means to engage all of you guys and get you all connected. And so I hope that this is going to be kind of fun. So the format will be answering the feature question right off the bat. Then it will be kind of news and updates and the things that are going on. Then the third segment will be our live Q&A, and that will allow us to split off the teaching moment at the beginning and repurpose that content so that more people can see it, including across other platforms, but it will also give everyone time to get their questions answered as well in the live. So remember, click on the link below in the description and take the time to fill out this little questionnaire here with the question that you think would be best for us to answer in our next, as our feature question in our next live Q&A. All right. Okay. Let's now shift over here. And I have just a couple more little updates before this time we jump into our, into the live Q&A answer session. So one, obviously, is that, yes, the CRS draws, the IRCC draws, we expect those to happen today. And like I said, I'm thinking 520, 525, around that range. That's where my guess is. And then I also want to point out within the Canadian Immigration Institute here, if we slide over here, that we have coming up right here, we're in the process of completing the spousal sponsorship course, which I've got some awesome people in that course right now. But then we also have the post-grad work permit, 18-month, that is going to be open all the way through for the balance of this year. And depending upon individuals that subscribe and join in, we've done 2 live master classes, but I may add another one in if there are sufficient, people that have purchased after the last live that we did on Monday. And then coming up, we have our Express Entry course that will start September 19th to the 22nd. Wow, that is hard to believe how fast that's coming up. So that'll be in a little over a month. So those of you who are going to get drawn today, this is a great, great tool for you. And then, of course, our other offerings that we have here. So watch for that. Check that out. I also want to let you know that on our website, we have some new blog posts. We have one that was written by Cedric here, Proof of Funds and the Provincial Nominee Program under Express Entry. This is an interesting one because lots of people ask this question. They say, do you need to provide proof of funds for a provincial nominee program under Express Entry? And Cedric does his very, very best to demystify this very confusing area. Then we have this blog post right here. Obviously, that's all for international students and the 18-month extension policy, answers to your questions. We've got the interim work authorization for the postgrad work permit holders. We have what all of this means here. And then we have the provincial nominee programs for BC, an overview of the BC Pmp program by our very own Chanel Rosenbaum. So check those blog posts out, and they're all there accessible for you to for your learning and reading enjoyment. I also want to let everybody know that we have launched our very first newsletter, and we've got a lot of things going on here within the Canadian Immigration Institute and Holthe Immigration Law. We released our very, very first newsletter, and it's pretty easy for you to subscribe to that newsletter. All you have to do is come to the Canadian Immigration Institute website and just scroll down, and right here you can see you can subscribe to the Canadian Immigration newsletter. And that newsletter was just full of a ton of highlights, videos that we've done, our blog posts, and a little bit of interesting factoids that we include in there as well. And so we try to send those out once a week with all the developments that have happened, new blog posts, and you can see we are now churning out a ton of content. So watch for that. If you haven't, head over here and drop your email, and we will get you on that list to send out that newsletter. And then the last but not least that I wanted to share is the Canadian Immigration Institute Trivia Competition. And this is something I've been wanting to do for a while. And this section is something that it's a little piece that we're going to be doing probably kind of around the end of the week. It'll start here in the fall as everybody gets back from their summer vacations, but we're going to do a trivia competition. And it's going to be a competition amongst the 4 immigration lawyers. And at times we may invite a guest to join us as well. It's going to be hosted by our very own Igor Krylyk. And we are going to have it based on 4 pillars: Canadian history, Canadian geography, Canadian culture, and of course, Canadian immigration. So Igor's going to have some titillating questions that are going to, 10 questions. We're going to have 10 rounds, and then we're going to see who is the victor. And the victor will then have a certain amount of money to donate to a cause of their interest that fits within, what we're doing. So that is kind of the format. So watch for that. That's going to be dropped here in the fall. And yeah, that is the updates, you guys. So that's where we're at. All right. So if you have started posting questions, hold off on posting those questions till I give you the green light. And I want to give a few shout outs here as we're moving forward. Mariana is here joining from Toronto, and make sure that you guys post where you're tuning in from. Let's see, Axel, how are you doing there? Let's see who else we've got. Himshika, there we go. And Mary, hello, Mary. and Rohit. And you can see a lot of these are all YouTube. So nice to see you again, Mariana. And Amir, welcome back. Good to see you. Andy, hello. Greetings to you over in Ottawa. And he says, Mark, I sent you a question on LinkedIn. Andy, I will go check out that question. All right. And let's see here. Thesura, hello from North York. Another alumnus of the Canadian Immigration Institute. Great to have you here. And you can see the vast number of people are YouTubers. And so I think this is probably one of the things that's going to push us that direction. Okay, so you can see here, if you go through the YouTube feed, you'll see that there's a link there. And there should be in the description where you can submit your questions for the next live. So just submit it through that link, and then that will take you right to the spot, where we can get those questions. And Igor has just informed me that we already have 10 questions submitted for the next live Q&A, our very, very first feature question. And that is awesome. Thank you so much for diving in on that. Hello, bro, to you as well. Abu Bakar is over in the UAE. Great to have you in there. And as I scroll down here, you can see Nishant says, too high. Yes, it is. So we do have someone on Facebook who's on the Canadian Immigration Institute Facebook page. But Nishant, I'd encourage you to slide over to YouTube, because I think this is the direction we're going to go. We're going to kind of embrace YouTube and go forward. So you can see the questions. You can submit them there. We do have Mark Pye. Mark, my wife and I are high school teachers from Scotland. Great, Mark. Thanks for connecting in. Mark, I'd encourage you to slide over to YouTube as well, because I think, like I said, we're slowly going to start to transition where we just broadcast live on YouTube. Yes. Let's see here. Zipping through, giving a few more shout outs. So hold off on your questions. I see a bunch of people posting questions, but hold off for now, because those questions should be submitted. If you have a question that you want to be included as the feature question, like I said, all you need to do is just just click on the link that we have in the description, and also the one that Igor is posting here within our group for the next live. You can do it right here. Okay. All right. Sodium says, awesome. I'm doing great, Bright. Good to see you. He's a subscriber to the Postgrad Work Permit. I hope that was helpful for you, Bright. And I'm so excited for all of you guys. So excited that have now finally got your work authorization back. Patel, good to see you. And yes, Joe, good to catch you again. And it's awesome to hear that you're in Calgary. We've got DeBottom, who is over in Mississauga. Sodium's over in Port Blair. Excellent. Patel, good to see you. Alva is over in Peru. And Sagar, good to see you. Hello. Oyen over Nigeria. Thanks for connecting in. Let's see, who else do we have here in our in our list? Okay, good. And I know you guys are communicating back and forth, which is great. This is designed to be a good community and helping one another, and that's what it's all about. All right, guys, you can now start to post your questions. So make sure you put a Q in front of it like that, and then I will know that it is a question and not like Josh here communicating with Armin saying thanks, he'll give it a try. All right. Okay, let's dive into some questions here for the remaining time. And Patel says, how long will it take after Schedule A background form? That depends, my friend. Usually I tell people it's at least a month, but I've had it go longer and I've had it go shorter. Okay. CF says, hey, Mark, I'm going to be landing in Montreal, but my final destination is Toronto. Is it okay to do that? Okay, you have to be very, very careful. So you have to make sure that they know that you are truly, your final destination is Toronto. Sometimes flights are cheaper to fly into Pierre Elliott Trudeau Airport, and then transit across directly to Toronto. But you need to make sure that very clearly that you've got a path, a plan in place. You've got an address in Toronto, and that there's no doubt in the officer's mind, because you can have issues if it looks like you're headed to Quebec, especially if you've gone through express entry or a non-Quebec based immigration program. Okay, RCM 00 says, hey, Mark, for CEC applicants where work experience is accumulated from occupations in different NOCs, how does RCC evaluate it? Does it matter which NOC has the majority of accumulated hours governs? Well, you can choose whichever you want. The key is that your NOC has to be skilled, right? And ultimately, the one you choose, typically I'll choose the one that has the most experience, but there is no requirement that it be continuous like there is for the federal skilled worker. So as long as all that work history occurred in the previous 3 years, and it meets all the other requirements, such as full-time or part-time, a minimum of 15 hours, skilled, knock B, A, or O, and watch the video feed, guys, because we're going to start doing a bunch more videos on tier and the whole transition to that crazy world that's going to happen in November. So watch for those videos dropping as we go forward and blog posts associated with that. But it has to be paid, right? And so as you go through that and the duties that you perform have to match the knock, as long as those things are in place, it doesn't really make too big of a difference which knock you choose. But I tend to choose the one that has the most experience, even if it's 8 months, and then I've got 4 months with another company in Canada. So there you go. Okay, EJ, great to see you tuning in from Saudi Arabia. One day I'm going to get over there, you guys. One day I am going to get over there. Okay, Sager applied for an LMIA closed work permit on June 25th, but the post-grad was supposed to end on June the 30th. My question is, with new work permit policy, do I need to restore my status? If you applied for, and this goes into the course. This is why I created the course. And Sager, you know, I know you guys, some people are like, oh, Mark, he's always promoting his course, but my goodness, like this one right here, if I flip the screen over, this one right here goes through in detail how you not only set it up, how you to get the right document checklist, how you answer the forms, whether or not you pay to restore or otherwise. All of that is contained in the post-grad course. And for like $197 US, you will learn more about the whole process than literally anyone. This exercise that I went through, all the videos, all the resources, all the tools that are associated with it, are all there designed to help you. And you know, I don't think you can find anything anywhere that is that cheap. And boy, I just encourage you guys to go and watch the video, because there are so many places, Saker, where it can be tripped up. Now, to answer your question, it is an extremely confusing area. But in my technical briefing that I had with IRCC that I shared with everybody, and that's one of the videos, was even this question. They had indicated clearly that as long as you were in valid status, which includes maintained or implied status, then when you're applying for the postgrad work permit, you're not restoring, you're just applying for either a work permit with the same employer or a work permit with a new employer. And once again, I go through that in the course. But you say, if you submitted your LMIA closed work permit on the 25th of June, which was 5 days before your postgrad work permit expired, then you're in maintained status. And if you are in maintained status, then you do not need to pay the $200 and restore your status. You can pay just the 100. You don't have to pay the $100 open work permit fee. You just pay the work permit fee, and you just apply for change conditions, just like you do with the 5710 form. Okay, great question, Sager. Great question. Okay, let's see here. Okay, Mary, this is also included in my express entry course in detail. So Mary says, if a few months were spent in the home country while residing and studying in another during studies abroad, should those few months be part of the address history or travel history in the ITA? So the way I approach it is that if you have a home base where you live and you're going back to another country temporarily, and then you're going back to your primary residence, in this case would be where you're studying abroad, then I will often put that in the travel history. But what I don't do is put both travel and address covering the same period of time in the same location, so they don't overlap. So you have to understand why they're asking and what they're looking for with travel history. They essentially want to know where you are at any given point every single day over the past 10 years. So by saying my address is in Canada, but I went home back to India for 2 months to see my family, and then I came back to my address in Canada, I keep the Canadian address the entire time the same. I don't change it. If I'm only back for 2 months back to see family, then I put that as travel history. If it goes a long time period, maybe 3-4 months, then you can change that as an address. And then you even if you're going back to the one in Canada, it's where you lay your head. That's what I put for the That's what I put long-term for the address if you're trying to decide if you have two at the same time and it's a longer period, then I put address being the one where you lay your head. So all of that is demystified in the course. And I think you guys have seen this a lot, but you can subscribe right now. I'm just going to flip back here. This one, you can subscribe right now and get access to all of those courses. It's just on September 19th after you've had a chance to digest all of the material down here. And there are over 642 minutes of videos. And then there will be 4 hours of live masterclasses. All of this here, all of this content, all of these individual videos are all designed to help you make sure that you get it right the first time. And then the masterclass is just the icing on the cake, Mary. Okay. Okay. Nikhil says, hey, Mark, I got 1 year postgrad after studying 2 years. I asked for reconsideration on March 29th, but no response. I'm not eligible for 18-month program. Can you guys help me in getting 3-year postgrad? This is where I click that bell right there. And then I basically tell you to slide over here to our website, click on speak to a lawyer, and then book a consult. And we can absolutely sort that out. In fact, I just had a consult just yesterday with someone that we discussed this exact issue. And there are some very, very fine detailed nuances to this, but we are seeing that IRCC is making some mistakes. And so it comes down to what you submitted with your postgrad work permit application. But I strongly encourage you to book a consult, Nikhil, and let us sort through this. Okay, Lovepreet says, hey, Mark, I'm in Canada pursuing a postgrad diploma. I will be having Crs 477 in FSW category. My doubt is, shall I pursue another 1-year course, or this course is good to obtain an ITA in 2023? Lovepreet, once again, triangle, which is slide over here and book a consultation with the firm, and we can go through this in detail. But one thing I want to tell you guys, which I've reiterated over and over again, is that I never, ever, ever go with just a 1-year program. So if it's 1 year, you're only going to get a 1-year study permit, 1-year postgrad. And I don't do it. It's just not worth it, you guys. You don't have time enough to get PR. 2 years at the very minimum, so you can get a 3-year postgrad work permit, and then you have options. So in your situation, Lovepreet, I recommend you book a consult, and then we can take a look at everything in detail. Okay, next. Upendra says, sir, your presentation is amazing. You are very, very welcome. And I'm happy to see that there are some Facebook people that are tuned in. So thank you, Upendra. I really appreciate it. Okay, Mohammed says, I'm a student in Canada. My current semester finishes this week and new one starts in September. Can I work full-time during this period? What is considered as a scheduled break from school? So yes, if you have finished, and it's anything in the summer is typically a regular scheduled break. So for most people, they will go to school from September to April. And then starting May through to the end of August, that would be considered a regular scheduled break. Christmas holidays. So in December, when the semester is over until it starts back up in January again, that is also a regular scheduled break. So right now in August, till it starts up, and you said new one starts in September. Yes, this is considered a regular scheduled break. And yes, there are some nuances with schools, but generally speaking, that's how it works. All right. You're very welcome, Patel. Hey, Spider-Man over in Singapore. Good to see you. Okay. All right. So the bottom says, hey, express entry profile is expiring in October, mid. Should I create a new profile now as chances low to get ITA by October? Well, you could do that. Ultimately, profiles, when they expire, then you have to resubmit them anyways. So if you wanted to do that, to cancel that profile and then create a new one, the sad part is there isn't any way to kind of extend an existing one. So you actually have to recreate it and make sure that it's consistent. Okay, but at the bottom, make sure that what you put in that first profile is consistent with what you put in the second one. All right. Okay, Alicia says, CIC application since mid-2020. All passed except security since May 2021. Should I go to court advice? Hey, that is a very, very viable option. If things are stalled out and you're once again over a year when they're working through the security stuff, I think a lot of you are very, very aware that now within the firm, we are starting to do a lot more of this. And so I would encourage you to check out this blog post right here, Delayed Applications at IRCC and the Writ of Mandamus or Mandamus, whatever you want to pronounce it, written by Cedric here. This is the direction that you can go. So I encourage you to read the blog It has a lot of details in there, and then click on the link and speak to Cedric, and he can walk you through that process. Okay, so that is right in his wheelhouse. This is the stuff that he's doing, and I encourage you to connect with him. All right. But yeah, that's a long time, and things should be moving forward. Okay. All right. So Vignesh says, hey, Mark, when a restoration application is in progress, can we accept an ITA and submit docs? Well, the short answer is yes, 100%. There's no issues at all. You can completely move forward and submit your EAPR. If not, can you please suggest the best way so that we don't miss the opportunity to submit app? Thanks. Yeah, there's no restrictions on, restoring your temporary application and getting an ITA from Express Entry and completing it. So I don't see any restrictions unless I'm missing something, Vignesh. Okay, Saksham says, I have remotely worked outside Canada 3 months. I created my profile in April. Do I need to exclude that period of work experience and resubmit a new profile? I've completed 1 year in Canada now. Yes, if you've included that as being Canadian work experience, then absolutely you need to create 2 separate entries in your work history section so that the time outside Canada isn't considered to be work in Canada. Simple as that. The work outside Canada, when you're working remotely, this, it's obviously a little bit of a challenge. But that time doesn't count towards Canadian work experience. It seems stupid, but that's just the way it is, Saksham. Okay, Kiria, I'm gonna ring this triangle. Encourage you to slide over as well and book a consult with one of the lawyers in our firm. When it comes to a Pmp nomination, there are a wide variety of different ways that you can get nominated. Some are straight up applications. Others, you submit an Express Entry profile and get an expression of interest. There's a wide variety of different programs depending on the province. And yeah, so I recommend you book a consult with one of the lawyers and we can sort that out with you. Okay, let's see here. Next. Okay, Akash says, applied for a spousal open work permit together with postgrad work permit extension. Is it okay? Akash, I wish you would have subscribed to the course. Oh, you guys. Yes, it's okay if it's done correctly. So there's the answer. Okay, Mohammed says, FSW Outlander requested the GCMS notes with the help of a brother in Canada. Do I need representation of the brother, or is it okay? As you know, MP can have latest status. Okay, the member of parliament, that request through them, well, it depends on what they want from you. It really depends on the MP, if that's the direction you're going to go. GCMS, you need a brother who can do an ATIP request for you. But do you need representation of the brother? Only if the MP says they want something from you. Okay, Mahesh says, hey, Mark, does Motion 44 have more chances for international graduates in Canada? I think it will. And we will see next month what the minister comes up with. We've provided our input from the Canadian Bar Association, and now it's kind of a waiting game. Certain stakeholders have been a part of those discussions. We described our intention as a CEC plus, and you can go to the Canadian Bar Association and read the submission that we sent the minister. But ultimately, yes, that's what it's all designed, is to create more opportunities for you guys. Okay. Floral's Chic says, hey, Mark, got a job offer as a barista, but I don't have experience, but I'm taking barista certification and looking into volunteering. Employer will also train. What are my chances of a work permit? That's something I cannot answer. Ultimately, it comes down to if that employer has a labor market impact assessment, or if you have some other access to an open work permit. And consults are usually the way we can sort through that. Okay, Aaron says, hey, Mark, do you have any news if the postgrad work permit expires before December 31st, 2022, only due to passport expiry? No, I don't. I'm glad you brought that up, Aaron. I don't have that. So due to passport expiry, I qualified to apply for the 18-month extension. So at this stage, I think there is absolutely no harm whatsoever in applying and requesting it if you're going to get more time on the 18-month than a regular one. So I would just recommend that you do that. But I have not received confirmation back from IRCC on that, and that's something I'll need to look into, Aaron. Thanks for bringing that up. Okay, Uzair says, any confirmation whether we should apply for extension again if someone has already applied for one to keep the status maintained after June 13th and mentioned about the policy in the client information. Uzair, I'll need a lot more indication as to what extensions you're referring to. I can't tell if it's post-grad that was filed, if it was one of those kind of frivolous work permits that don't have a basis, or you just file any work permit just to maintain status. I'm going to need a little bit more information on that one, Uzair. Okay, Tili says, hey, Mark, studied 2020, got post-grad with only 1 year after 1 month. So 1 month wasted. And due to family issues, I'm unable to travel now. So it's wasting. And it expires March 2023. What's best for me to do? Tili, I don't have much of an option for you. In this type of a situation, that's why I hate 1 year programs. Your options are very limited. You know, in many cases, getting a job in Canada, your only option is to be able to come back and get a job. And then after you got that job, in that short period of time, convince the employer to get an LMIA for you, which can then extend your work permit and give you more points towards express entry. But aside from that, that's why I hate 1 year diplomas. And you know what? I think I should do a video on that. Why I hate 1 year diploma programs in Canada for foreign nationals. Okay. Hello, Mark. Finally catch you on live from Dubai. Great. Always watching your vids. Thank you for connecting in. I'll give you some applause. Learning a lot from you. Hopefully to be there soon. That would be awesome. That would be awesome. Thanks for connecting in. Okay. Let's hit some supers that have just popped in. So let's see here. So Manvinderjeet says, hey, Mark, I completed a course that had classes for 8 months. My completion certificate mentions duration as 1 academic year. In your experience, what is the postgrad work permit duration issued for this? I am taking 2 such programs within 2 years. As always, thanks for the great advice. Okay, so obviously, if the program is 1 year, you're only going to get 1 year. So if it's 8 months, that's fine. If the program is 1 year, they will issue it for 1 year. If on the alternative, you are taking 2 subsequent, then you have the potential to bridge those together to have 2 years, which then would give you a full 3-year postgrad. However, right here, I strongly encourage you to book a consult so that I can actually look at your program. Look at the school, look at what you took, look at the actual wording in terms of how the school itself describes it, because your confirmation of graduation letter that you use to submit your postgrad work permit will, to a large extent, dictate what the officers are doing. And so, like I said, I've already had a situation where someone had, they had used a letter from a school that was kind of junky, and it didn't have a lot of details. And it was actually, I think, Montreal University is who it was. And the person got a lower, term, a shorter term on his postgrad work permit than he really was entitled to, or than should have been awarded. And so now we're trying to sort that out for him. So those things absolutely happen. Okay, let's jump back here and get to some more questions. Okay. Kiran says, hi, I'm from India. My husband is a PR. The current outland spousal sponsorship process time is 24 months. Can I apply first visitor visa, spousal open work permit, LMI, and later apply for inland? Yeah, you can. Yeah, so if you haven't submitted anything yet, I will often encourage people to apply for temporary status first. And obviously, you never want to misrepresent anything. And if you get that visa approved as a visitor or to come work or whatever it might be, you can absolutely then apply through the spouse common law partner class. And that's something we're talking about in the courses right now. And I highly encourage you, Kiran, to slide over and take a look at the courses that we have here. And one obviously is, let me just jump back here, is the master class that I'm doing right now. And we will be doing another one. I've got too many courses here, you guys. This one right here, the spousal sponsorship course, because there is extensive detail on filing and videos on every step, every form, and master classes that are always associated with it. So check that out. Okay, let's keep zipping through here. You're very welcome, Sager. And Angel, yes, we've got lots of questions, and I don't have much to offer with SUVs. So work permit POE letter valid for the requested length of your work permit or until the expiry date of medical exam, whichever is less. And can you travel 6 months after you get one? All of that stuff, Angel, when it comes to startup visas, we do not within our firm have a ton of experience with startup visas. We are exploring it. We're looking into it, but it is very, very volatile process. So in that case, I'd encourage you to reach out to the consultant or the lawyer who's assisting with the startup visa But yeah, I can't, I don't have experience to answer that one. Okay, Anna says, please advise what to do if I didn't receive interim. Have you heard anything about the issue with the system? Are they going to send more emails? Postgrad expired December 2021. Anna, did you use a representative? I can't tell you how many times this has happened. If you used a representative to file your previous postgrad or your postgrad work permit itself, if you filed it yourself, what email address did you include with that? Because that's where it's going. Did you check your junk mail? 99% of the time when I have people in this situation, Anna, it was because they used a previous rep and the rep just hasn't forwarded the email to them. So I strongly, strongly encourage you to do that. And at this stage, IRCC hasn't been too kind in their issuance of subsequent letters. There may be paths that we can pursue. Book a consult if truly there's no other options and we can look into it. But at this stage, yeah, typically people don't receive it because it's gone to the email address that they no longer have control over. Okay, Mary, you're very welcome. Let's see what we have next. Okay, Tamara says, do you know any immigration consultants who specialize in helping healthcare workers through the process of getting our credentials verified in Canada? That's a good question. I don't, Tamara. I don't know, any that specialize in that. The reality is, I think you're here, you're a DIYer. You can figure this out. You figure out the province that you're going to. You reach out. I think you can do this, Tamara. And this is just one part of the journey, but it's not designed for you to have a third party help you with that process. And so I think this is something that you can do on your own and just figure out which province you're going to. Each province tends to be a little bit different when it comes to the certification requirements. And I recommend that you go there and check out the websites. Okay. Let's see here. Okay, Patel says, hey, Mark, request of Schedule A background form means still any background check is pending or PPR in progress. It depends. It depends. Sometimes they're fishing. Sometimes they're looking to see if you misrepresented on something. And so they send a Schedule A so that you will then, say the same lie twice. And I see that a lot. And that's why I strongly encourage people when they do get Schedule A's, that they reach out to us to make sure that they're doing it properly. And also it's an ideal time to fix things if something wasn't done properly at the beginning. Sometimes it's just an update just so that they can then get whereabouts of where you've been because the application's been processed for a long time. But other times it's a fishing expedition by IRCC and they're looking for a way to trip you up and find misrep. So you need to take it seriously. Tanush says, hi, Mark, I really have to travel to India. I really have to travel India. I have applied for postgrad extension and have the interim work authorization and valid TRV. Will CBC allow me to enter Canada when I come back? That is something, Tanush, that I absolutely can't tell you. I advise my clients all the time that just don't travel. But that's something we need to look into with a whole lot more depth before I can give you an answer. I'll never advise someone, give them advice with respect to traveling ever. When it relates specifically to them, that's a consult that you'll need to book. Okay, Armin says, hey, Mark, what do you think about not applying for the postgrad extension until almost the end of the year and working with the interim email? Won't that basically give us more working time in Canada? Yes, it can. And that may be a possibility, Armin. It is possible that you can do that. It just comes down to the risk that you have. Like if you're afraid of your computer going down at the last minute and then not getting the application submitted, or you do something wrong, Armin. You submit that application now and it actually gets rejected. Well, if it gets rejected, sometimes it will come back in November, and then you've got time to refile it if you made a mistake. Now, those who ultimately take the course are going to be in a good position that they're not going to make mistakes. But Armin, in your situation, that's why I encourage people not to wait. Especially if you're out of status now, and apply to get the work permit, because it's going to be months before it's adjudicated. And if you submit the application now in August, you've got September, October, November, December. You've got 4 months almost for that thing to be processed. And if for whatever reason you've made a mistake and it gets rejected, this is what I saw a lot last year. A lot. Boy, you guys, I strongly encourage you to, I've literally made it as cheap as I possibly can. This course right here, the postgrad extension course, if this applies to any of you, $197 US. And this will walk you through to make sure that you're not screwing something up. And Armin, if you took the course and you went down that path, I'd have a whole lot more comfort saying, yeah, if you want to stretch it out, go for it. But boy, there's so many ways that this can fall off the rails. Okay. All right. Mark says, I checked for my permanent residence tracker for my spousal application and realized my medicals expired on June 22nd. Should I wait for IRCC or do new medicals? Haven't heard from IRCC from 4 months. I probably wouldn't proceed with new medicals. Alicia just had one approved and I think it was like 5 months. And so it just depends. So no, I wouldn't proceed with getting new medicals. They have the ability to extend them. So that's my feeling, especially if you can get the medical quickly. If there isn't long waiting times to book it, when IRCCs, if they do come back and say, hey, we want you to get a new medical, then you can do it relatively easily. Arifa over in Bangladesh. Hello. Good to see you. Okay. Unati says, hey, Mark, I'm working in a restaurant. When I joined, my employer said he would provide me supporting documents for PR support. Now I want to change my employer. So he denied to give me a reference letter from my AAIP. Well, book a consult. Let's see if we can sort it out. There's not much that we can do. All right. Hina says, I didn't receive the interim. Applied for visitor record in June. Agent says I'm not eligible. Any chances, please advise. So I didn't receive the interim authorization. Postgrad work permit expired in December 2021. Your agent doesn't know what they're talking about. If your postgrad did expire and it was your first postgrad, I'm not talking about an 18-month extension, which probably it shouldn't be. But if it expired in December of 2021, regardless of whether you applied for a visitor record, you need to get a new agent, because if the agent says that you're not eligible, then there must be some other reason, or the agent doesn't know what they're talking about. And then I recommend, Hina, that if you're paying an agent, that you actually come over and retain us to help you, because that's horrible advice. Yeah. Slide over here and book a consult with us. You can click right in here and you can book it right now. Because yeah, that is bad advice. I have no patience, zero patience for agents who do not understand the law. Okay. Okay. Anna says, please advise, what are the options for people who didn't receive the interim last Wednesday? It was sent out. Yeah. And I've talked about this a lot, but for some magical reason, I didn't get it. Does IRCC know about the issue? What to do? Anna, we see this all the time. Did you use an agent? And this is what I tell people. The email, check your email address that was associated with your postgrad work permit. If not, then book a consult and we'll try to sort it out. All right. Amara says, is it possible for a parent of a deceased child born in Canada currently on closed temporary work permit apply for your H&C stream to get a permanent resident permit? Amara, once again, book a consultation. H&Cs are very, very volatile. They more are refused than are approved. And a child that is passed away that was born in Canada doesn't necessarily give you any greater chance. And in fact, even a child that's living, that's a Canadian citizen, yes, they take into account the best interests of the child when they're assessing the whether or not to grant a humanitarian and compassion application or any discretion like that. But you have to realize that there's a whole lot more factors associated with it. It's not just as simple as having a child that was born in Canada. Although my condolences, and I can't imagine what it would be like to have a little child that has passed away, one of your children. So my sincere condolences to you, Amara. Okay, so lots of people are asking about how to get the interim if you haven't received it. And I can't tell you, like 99% is your consultant who isn't giving it to you. Okay, Ankit says, will there be any draw around 497 CRS this year? Thanks. Well, we are August, and I think there's a very good chance that it could drop down to that. Personally, I do. And if we look, and I think if we slide over here, let's just see, slide over to the rounds of invitations. We'll refresh this page, see if there's been any changes. Nothing yet, still August the 3rd, but we are at 533. And if we go back to the previous rounds, you can see that 533 was the lowest. Before it was 542, 557. So in the new era, July 6th, it's slowly, steadily been going down. And so we'll see how that works. Although this was the largest one that we've seen. And I said, I'm shooting for, I think, 520 to 525. Let's go over to here and see what we've got here. Oh, I wonder if I swayed some people. because now it shows that 41% are showing 520 to 525. That's the range that I'm going for. But there was 138 votes, 525 to 535. That was 39%. And then we have some wishful thinkers down here at 515. But yeah, that's kind of the range that I'm at. But I think it's possible. I really do. I really do. Okay, let's see who is next here. Okay, Maria says, FSW Outland applicant from Ecuador. Excuse me, just got a passport request, but my daughter's passport expires on March 21st, 2023. You're probably going to be okay. You know that August, September, October, November, December, January, February, March is 7 months. So they want to see that there's at least 6. I would take steps to request a new passport just in case. But it all comes down to when you're able to travel. And if you got the passport request and you submit it in, it may still be possible for you guys to get it through. Because obviously you wait, you request an extension, then time's delayed. But my suggestion often is to start requesting the new passport now, but send in the current passport. And if it comes back quick, then you guys can travel sooner rather than later. Oh, okay. Maria, my country's passport renovation appointments are full until October, so I won't be able to renew her passport on time. Can I send her current passport? Yeah, I would do it. So I would do it and then start the proceeding as soon as you can. And I think we've got this. I think we've already got Men Vinderjeet. Yeah, we answered that one, I think. Okay. Gurwinder says, do you think IRCC will continue to know specific draws until they start knock-based draws? Yeah, it looks like that's the direction that they're going to go, Gurwinder. Okay, Vignesh says, following up. Thanks a lot, Mark. That suggestion on accepting ITA and submitting docs for PR during restoration helps. I asked this because I've heard that we should have a valid status in Canada while applying for PR. Well, yes, absolutely. You need to have a valid status. Yes, short answer, yes. Okay, Uzair says, follow up. Postgrad expired July 19th. Applied for extension July 17th and mentioned above about the policy and client information. Lots of people have done that, and IRCC hinted that possibly they may accept that. And if I just want to point out again, you guys, if we go back to our, I'll go back to the web here. So you can see I did a video right here. Let's see here. Oh, I've got a members only stream on here. Yes. Let's see here. Where's the question? Oh, here we go. Okay. So postgrad 18-month extension in detail. And then the postgrad right here, the answers to the questions you want. I highly recommend that you watch that video there. And then if you also go over to our website and click on blog, you will see here that we have, let's see, I'm pretty sure, this one here, answers to your questions. And in here, I even have addressed, I think, the question specifically that you had asked. So yeah, so check those resources out because there'll be a lot more details in there. But I would at least, very least update, but those of you who were proactive and tried to extend based on the policy, I think you need to be aware that you could get an officer that isn't apprised or isn't up to speed with what to do and chooses not to process it under this new policy. Although IRCC in my technical briefing did say that they would identify it, but you didn't fill out the 5710 form with the right code. You didn't include hopefully you included a letter and referred back to the policy. Hopefully they identify it, but there's no guarantees who's there. Okay, David Chen says, hey, Mark, long time. Yes, it's been a really, really long time. AOR, February 28th, eligibility criminality passed, info sharing, security in progress, PVO is Vancouver. Just any updates, any thoughts? I don't, David. I've stopped even trying to contemplate this stuff. It's all over the map, my friend. February the 28th, I don't know if that is AOR this year or that's for a different year, but yeah, processing times, I don't even try to understand at this stage. Hina says, can we raise the web form on restoration application? Please advise. Hina, I don't know exactly what you're referring to with that. All right, David says, I got a job offer from a Canadian company. I'll have to quit my current job in China and start working for the Canadian company online while I wait for my application to be processed. Well, that's pretty cool. That's awesome. That's a great segue. That's a great way to transition in. Okay, we'll go for a few more questions. I don't know if we have any more supers. I'll just hit that. Yes, we've got one from Darshana. Okay, Darshana, let's see if we can find this. Okay, so Darshana's question is, I did apply for my application of the TR to PR pathway. Post-grad work permit's going to expire January the 6th, 2023. If my application is not finalized, what should I do? I'm not eligible for the 18-month extension too. There will be the ability to extend through a bridging process for your TR to PR pathway. So the TR to PR pathway has its own embedded ability to extend through its own unique kind of bridging process. And if you need any assistance with that, Darshana, just once again, click the link and slide over and book a consult with our firm, and we can help you with that. So the TR to PR pathway has its own ability to extend work permits. All right. I think we are at the end, you guys. This was a really, really good round. And yeah, Maria, you're very, very welcome. And Malicious says here, I keep getting ghost updates for 5 months in my account. Please, is this normal? Well, no, I don't think it's normal. That's actually quite unusual. Why it's happening? Oh my goodness. I have no clue whatsoever. All right. And then Yasser talk about the backlog. There's not really much to say. It's a backlog. They're working through it, and it's the Liberal government. You know, they've made decisions on what they're going to process, prioritizations. Cabinet has decided where IRCC should place their emphasis, and IRCC is following the direction of Justin Trudeau and the Liberal government. And so the backlogs are clearly 100% associated with decisions that they have made. Pursuing, you know, assistance for the Afghan crisis, the Ukraine crisis, both of which I fully support. But all the decisions that they make have had a ripple effect and have created the backlogs. And yes, the pandemic initially had an issue, but I'm sorry, when 30% of the workers or more are at home not working, and IRCC wasn't prepared to continue processing applications and everything ground to a halt, well, that's what happens. And so I think you guys should remember this and take this into consideration in future years as you're trying to figure out when you become citizens who you're going to vote for. All right, let's wrap it up here. Yes, so we'll wrap it up. Thanks so much, everybody that's tuned in. Those who've jumped in late, I want to remind you once again that we have a new process for questions. So next week, I will be starting with a feature question, and that feature question will be selected from the questions that are extended through this process where you can submit your question for the next live Q&A. The feature questions for next week, we will choose from, and I think there's probably already about 20 in there. We will choose the feature question, and then we will also put up in a poll, just like we did within this live stream. Right here, you can see we will create a poll with each of the questions, and then you guys will vote next week on the feature question for the following week. So we've listened to you, and we want to make sure that we're giving you guys exactly what you want. And so this is a way to participate. So in the description on the videos, you'll see a link that will take you here, and then fill out this information, write your question, and then we collect those, and then we will choose one feature question for next week. So I get to choose that one. And then after that, the following week, we will go with we will take this into consideration, the people that are voting in the poll, which you will see here. And this will just be on the YouTube channel. So if you're not watching on YouTube, I strongly encourage you to slide over, just register for a Gmail account so you can connect in. And then YouTube is probably going to be driving the ship for our channel going forward. And one of the reasons why, if we go back here, we are at 42,000 subscribers strong and growing every single day. So make sure that you like this. Make sure that you, when these videos go live and otherwise, that you hit the bell button to get notified. And when we go live, you will not miss out on a single one. Also remember, we have our courses that are all out there on the Canadian Immigration Institute. This one, if you have not registered for this course and you are in this situation looking to apply for your postgrad work permit, do it. This will walk you through, make sure you're not going to screw things up and lose out on this one opportunity, okay? $197 US is all that I'm charging, And when we get and I've already done 2 master classes for individuals that have subscribed. And because this is going to be open through till the end of December 31st of this year, I will do other master classes as the numbers continue to come in for individuals who are purchasing it, so that there's always a master class associated with it. All right. So if you haven't done that, do that. Remember that the next Express Entry course is coming September. Now is the time to purchase and subscribe so that you can go in, you can get access right now to all of the course material and start working through all of those lessons and prepare yourself, because the beauty of the actual masterclass portion with the course is after you've gone through the lessons, if there's things that you're not certain, then it's perfect. But when people just purchase at the last minute, they haven't had a chance to go through all of the videos, and then they may have questions after the masterclass that they didn't have a chance to ask. So make sure that you check that out for sure as well. And last but not least, we are going to have the Canadian Immigration Institute trivia contest, and that trivia contest is going to be kind of a regular feature. It's going to pull in all of the lawyers of Holthe Immigration Law, and all of those lawyers. You can find us all over here on our website, our team right here. And when we pull up the team, you can see we've got myself and Alicia and Chanel and Cedric and Igor. And Igor is going to be our fearless. He's going to be the moderator of the trivia contest. He's going to be asking the questions, and then us lawyers are going to do battle. And what we're going to be doing battle on is the 4 pillars of what we do. Well, Canadian immigration, Canadian history, Canadian geography, and Canadian culture, all about Canada. So stay tuned for that. That'll be fun, and it will be probably dropped on our podcast, the Canadian Immigration Podcast. So stay tuned for that. And those of you who are wondering, what is the podcast? If you want to listen, you can go right here to the Canadian Immigration Institute, click on podcast, and you can subscribe on wherever you love listening to your podcasts. You can subscribe and listen to audio when you're traveling to and from work, or when you're just multitasking. We have that option for you as well. So go check all of those out. Lots of great content. And yeah, we will see you guys in, I guess, the live Q&A with Alicia tomorrow at 11 a.m. So thanks for connecting in. Take care, you guys, and we will see you in the next live.